My sister got nervous when I mentioned a credit report. Then she told me to check the basement. Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm 34. And 6 months ago, my sister tried to kill me over a credit report. I know how that sounds. Trust me, I wish it was a joke. But when you grow up with someone like Amanda, prank always came with paperwork, property damage, or some kind of emotional scarring. Amanda's 39. Firstborn. Favorite child. High school valedictorian, prom queen, married at 23 to a guy who peaked in business casual. 3 kids, 1 mortgage, 0 chill. If you met her, you'd say, she seems nice. And I'd just nod because how do you even start? Our mom, Lisa, adored Amanda. Worshipped her like she invented oxygen. Every family photo looked like Amanda's campaign poster, and I was the random photo bomber. Every dinner, Amanda's achievements, Amanda's kids, Amanda's new haircut. When I graduated summa cum laude, Mom spent dessert showing off Amanda's vacation scrapbook. My dad, Mike, tried. He really did. But he's the grill and chill kind of guy. Changed my oil, taught me to build furniture, came to my terrible high school band concerts. But standing up to Mom? Not in his toolkit. So, when Lisa brushed off my accomplishments or made snide jokes about my job in finance, Dad would give me that quiet, apologetic shrug like, yeah, sorry kid. So I grew up learning that if I wanted balance, I'd have to make it myself. Fast forward to last Thanksgiving. My wife, Emily, and I drove up from Indianapolis to my hometown in northern Illinois. It was supposed to be a celebration. I'd just made junior partner at my firm. Dad was proud. He planned this big dinner, had steaks flown in, bought a new grill he didn't need. He was finally happy to brag about me. I should have known that was the problem. Amanda found out I was helping Dad with his estate planning. Just basic consolidation, tax stuff. But when she casually asked if I'd be pulling credit reports, I said, yeah, probably. She laughed. One of those tight laughs that sound like a warning. Then she changed the subject. I didn't think twice. 3 weeks later, she locked me in my parents' freezing basement. For 14 hours. And my mother, said, stop overreacting. It was just a prank. That's when the doctor reviewed the security footage and turned to my family and said something that made even Lisa shut up. But I'll get there. Thanksgiving weekend started normal. Almost suspiciously normal. Emily and I rolled into my childhood driveway Wednesday afternoon. Amanda was already there, of course, arms wide like she hadn't ignored my last 6 texts. She hugged me too long, asked about work stuff, with that practice smile she wore like perfume. Emily gave me one of those tight, private glances, the kind that says, file this for later discussion. Amanda's husband, Trent, threw out his back again, which meant Amanda was flying solo with their 3 Tasmanian devils disguised as children. Ages 9, 7, and 5. The kind of kids who treat furniture like playground equipment and see walls as opportunities for expression. Dinner that night was a passive-aggressive buffet. Every time Dad tried to bring up my promotion, Amanda changed the subject. The 3rd time he mentioned it, her youngest suddenly needed help in the bathroom. Coincidence? Sure. And I'm a ballet dancer. Then came the weird basement moment. Amanda found me in the kitchen late that night getting water. Said the sump pump was making this weird sound. Mentioned it so casually. You might want to check it tomorrow. You know, in case Dad's warranty's still good. Oh, and there's no signal down there anyway, so leave your phone on the counter. I should have known. I chalked it up to her usual bossy big sister energy. But Emily clocked it instantly. Why is she so concerned about your phone? She whispered as we went upstairs. And why does she know what the basement signal's like? The next morning, Thanksgiving itself, Dad tried again to toast me during breakfast. Amanda cut in with a story about how her middle kid had made honor roll at preschool. Mom nodded like it was a Nobel Prize. Still, I brushed it off. I was used to her sabotage. It wasn't new. What was new was the moment after pie when Amanda cornered me again and asked, totally innocently, how far along I was with Dad's credit checks. You probably already pulled his report, right? Like, do you think he's got anything weird on there? I narrowed my eyes. Why would I think that? She laughed. God, Ryan, can't I just be curious? It didn't feel curious. It felt panicked. And it made more sense than I wanted it to. The random interest in estate planning, her fake sweetness, the constant interruptions. Still, I didn't connect the dots fast enough. So when Amanda asked me the next morning to quickly check the sump pump, I didn't argue. I didn't bring my phone. I didn't bring my inhaler. I just walked down those creaky stairs like a moron, flashlight in hand. And when I heard the door slam behind me, I knew. This wasn't a prank. This was war. The lock clicked. That awful, unmistakable thunk of a deadbolt sliding into place. One that hadn't been there before. "Amanda?" I yelled. "What the hell are you doing?" No answer. Just footsteps. Deliberate. Slow. Walking away from the door. Then music. Loud. Something upbeat and aggressively cheerful. Maroon 5, I think. Which somehow made it worse. I ran up the stairs, slammed my shoulder into the door. Nothing. It didn't even rattle. That thing was reinforced. I tried the small basement windows. Fixed panes, sealed decades ago by whoever decided air circulation was optional. One had a rusted metal grate on the outside. I couldn't kick them out. I couldn't squeeze through. I was locked in. In November. In a Midwest basement with no heat. It was 35 degrees and dropping. I was wearing jeans, socks, and a long-sleeve tee. Nothing close to survival gear. I had left my inhaler on the kitchen counter like a trusting idiot. Because Amanda said the signal was bad downstairs, and I'd only be a minute. I pounded on the door. I screamed. My voice shredded within an hour. Every breath felt sharper, colder, harder to control. I could feel my chest tightening. I started pacing. Not to think. Thinking had left the building, but to move. To stay warm. To not pass out. By hour 3, I was stacking broken-down cardboard boxes from a corner to make a barrier between me and the concrete. Found an old moving blanket that smelled like mildew and sadness. Wrapped it around myself, shaking so hard my teeth chattered. My asthma was kicking in, not a full attack yet, but close. Tight throat, shallow breath. I kept moving. Jumping jacks. Squats. Talking to myself. By hour 5, my body was starting to give up. By hour 7, I stopped shivering. That's when it gets dangerous. When your body stops trying to save you. I curled into a ball near the furnace, which, cruelly, only heated the floors above me. I wasn't warming up, just dying slower. And the whole time, I kept thinking, why? Why this? Why now? Why not just keep ignoring me for another decade? Why fake a work emergency and trap me in a meat locker? Then I remembered the estate stuff. The credit reports. The panic in her voice when I mentioned pulling Dad's financials. And suddenly, it all clicked. Amanda hadn't locked me down there because she hated me. She locked me down there because I was about to find something. Around hour 9, my brain started lying to me. That's the part nobody warns you about. You expect pain. You expect fear. You don't expect your own thoughts to betray you. I started seeing my grandmother sitting on an upside-down milk crate, knitting like she used to when I was a kid. She told me to rest, that it was fine to stop moving, that I'd done enough. I knew it wasn't real. Hypothermia does that. It hands you comfort right before it kills you. I slapped my own face. Hard. Talked out loud just to hear a human voice, even if it was mine. I recited state capitals, counted backward from 1,000, tried to multiply numbers in my head. Stuff that should have been easy felt impossible. 7 times 8 might as well have been rocket science. Meanwhile, upstairs, life went on. Amanda had already sold the story. She told everyone I got an urgent call from work and had to leave immediately, that I didn't even say goodbye. She texted Emily from my phone, work emergency. Driving back early. Love you. Then deleted the sent message and set my phone right back next to my coffee mug. Emily was confused, sure, but not alarmed. End-of-year finance deadlines meant emergencies happened. She figured I'd call when I could. My dad was annoyed. He'd planned this weekend around me. Amanda soothed him. Mom backed her up immediately. You know Ryan. Always choosing work over family. No one questioned why my car was still in the driveway. No one questioned why my inhaler was still on the counter. Except one person. My friend Tyler, who'd been crashing with us since his divorce, wandered into the kitchen looking for snacks around hour 3. He noticed my phone, then my inhaler, then my car outside, and something didn't sit right. Did Ryan teleport to work? He joked. No one laughed. By hour 12, my thoughts were coming apart at the seams. I was talking to people who weren't there, falling asleep sitting up, waking up confused. I knew that if I lay down, I wasn't getting back up. And then, at hour 14, I heard something different. Not music, not silence. A crash, then another, and my dad's voice, panicked, raw, screaming my name as the basement door finally splintered open. I don't remember my dad breaking the door. I remember light. Harsh, blinding light cutting through the dark, and hands grabbing me under my arms. I remember being lifted, not dragged. I remember my father's voice cracking as he kept saying my name like if he stopped, I'd disappear. I was barely conscious. My lips were numb. My hands didn't feel like mine. I couldn't stop wheezing. Every breath felt like sucking air through a straw filled with ice. Amanda was standing in the kitchen when Dad carried me upstairs. I caught a glimpse of her face. Shock first, then calculation, then tears, right on cue. "Oh my God," she said. "Ryan, what happened? I thought you left." Tyler stepped between her and my dad before she could get any closer. I'd never seen him look like that. His jaw was locked. His voice was flat. "You knew?" Just that. 2 words. Amanda started babbling. Said it must have been a misunderstanding. Said she asked me to check the sump pump and assumed I went home after. Said she didn't hear me. Said the music must have been too loud. My mom stood frozen near the dining table, eyes darting, already calculating how this looked. Emily was on the phone with 911, her voice shaking but controlled in that terrifying way people get when they're holding themselves together by force. She kept saying, "Stay with me, Ryan. Stay with me." The paramedics arrived fast. Oxygen mask, heated blankets, numbers being shouted back and forth. Someone said my core temperature out loud, and the tone of their voice told me it was bad. Really bad. I blacked out in the ambulance. I woke up in the hospital under heat lamps, hooked to machines, with my hands and feet wrapped in thick white bandages. A doctor stood at the foot of the bed reading my chart like it personally offended her. Her name was Dr. Elaine Porter. Mid-50s. Sharp eyes. No nonsense. She looked up and said, "You're very lucky to be alive." Then she asked one question that changed everything. "Who locked you in the basement?" I told her. Every detail. The deadbolt. The missing phone. The fake text. The asthma. The cold. The timing. She listened without interrupting. Then she asked, "Your sister knew about your asthma?" "She used to hide my inhaler as a joke when we were teenagers." Dr. Porter nodded once and said, "I'm calling the police." When the detectives arrived, they didn't come with sympathy. They came with notebooks and quiet voices and eyes that missed nothing. They asked about money. They asked about estate planning. They asked about credit reports. And when my dad brought in the security footage later that night, the room went silent. Because the cameras showed Amanda checking the basement door. Again, and again, and again. 6 times in 14 hours. 6 times. That's how many times Amanda walked up to that basement door, put her ear to it, jiggled the handle, and walked away. Not once did she call out. Not once did she check if I was okay. Just verified the door was still locked like she was babysitting a wild animal. My dad watched that footage in the hospital room, one hand clamped over his mouth. I saw something collapse behind his eyes. The man who spent 30 years pretending Amanda was just misunderstood finally saw what the rest of us had known for decades. She knew, he said quietly. She knew he was down there. Then came the footage of Amanda in the kitchen, picking up my phone, typing, deleting, sending the fake text to Emily, then placing it back like nothing had happened. Detectives Garza and Malik, a seasoned investigator and her younger, silent partner, watched in silence. Garza finally said, "We're upgrading this case. Attempted murder, kidnapping, identity theft if what you said about the credit report checks pans out." And it did. Boy, did it. 2 days later, Detective Garza called my hospital room. "We got a warrant for your sister's house," she said. "Found some documents you'll want to hear about." Amanda had been busy. They found a fake business loan application using my dad's social security number. Forged signature. $45,000 approved 8 months prior. No actual business. Money gone. They found records from her time running a school fundraiser. Donation logs didn't match deposits. $16,000 unaccounted for. They found 2 credit cards in her husband Trent's name. He didn't know about them. Total balances? Over $60,000. And because apparently Amanda wasn't done, they found her laptop's search history. How cold is too cold for asthma? Basement temperature hypothermia risk. How long can someone survive in 35-degree room? Signs of hypothermia before death. All dated within 2 weeks of Thanksgiving. Not a prank. Not an accident. A plan. Meanwhile, Amanda's narrative to the family started crumbling. My dad was done. My mom, predictably, tried to play defense. "You're blowing this out of proportion," Lisa snapped when she came to the hospital. Amanda made a mistake. She researched how to kill me slowly. You're being dramatic. Emily stood up from the corner. Calm. Cold. Scary in the way only a furious wife can be. You have 10 seconds to leave before I call security. Lisa sputtered, shocked. I'm his mother. And your daughter tried to murder your son. Doors that way. My mom left, muttering about how I'd always been ungrateful. My dad filed for divorce 3 days later. 34 years of marriage, gone with the click of a deadbolt. The trial took 8 months to reach. 8 months of surgeries, physical therapy, and learning how to walk properly again with missing toe tips and lungs that would never fully forgive me. 8 months of watching my family detonate in slow motion. Amanda's arrest made local news. Not national, but enough that people recognized her at the grocery store. The concerned mother, masked, didn't survive the mugshot. Her defense was exactly what you'd expect. It was a prank. She forgot. She has anxiety. She never meant for it to go that far. Her lawyer tried to paint me as dramatic, obsessive, resentful of my successful older sister. He implied my promotion went to my head, that I wanted revenge. Then the prosecution rolled out the evidence. The footage, the deadbolt receipt, the search history, the forged loan documents, the missing fundraiser money, the hidden credit cards. Dr. Porter testified calmly about my core temperature, my oxygen levels, how another hour or two would have likely killed me. A medical expert explained hypothermia confusion and why stopping shivering was a red flag for death. Trent took the stand. That broke something in the room. He talked about finding the credit cards, about realizing his wife had been bleeding them dry for years, about discovering forged paperwork with his signature on it. He cried when he said he thought her mood swings were stress. I didn't know, he said. I swear I didn't know. The jury believed him. Then my dad testified. He described watching the footage, watching his daughter check the lock 6 times, described how it felt to realize his own child had tried to kill his son to cover up fraud. His voice cracked once. That was it. The jury deliberated less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Attempted murder, kidnapping, identity theft, fraud. Sentence, 11 to 16 years. My mom screamed in the courtroom, called me a traitor, said I destroyed the family. Security removed her when she tried to rush the prosecution table. Amanda didn't look at me when the sentence was read. She just stared straight ahead like the world owed her an apology. Amanda went to prison. 11 years, minimum. No appeals, no reduced charges. The evidence was too tight, the plan too clear, the consequences too real. Trent filed for divorce 2 weeks after sentencing. Got full custody. Moved the kids to Minnesota. Changed their last names. Told me, I think you were the only one who ever saw through her. Emily and I moved, too. Left Illinois. New city. New firm. Smaller, less pressure. We got a dog. A rescue mutt named Harvey who's terrified of vacuum cleaners, but fiercely protective of Emily's slippers. My dad visits once a month. Softer now. Quieter. He brings lasagna and over-explains how to fix things around the house. I let him. It's our unspoken peace treaty. Lisa disappeared. Figuratively. She lost the house in the divorce. Burned through her share of retirement money trying to fund Amanda's appeals. Last I heard, she was renting a 1-bedroom in Florida and still blaming everyone but the woman who researched how long it takes her brother to freeze to death. Amanda served 8 years before getting paroled. Model inmate, the reports said. She moved to Arizona under a different last name. Tried to rebuild. Told her version of the story to anyone who'd listen. Claimed she was framed. That I lied. That my promotion made me paranoid. But karma's got range. Turns out, Trent's new wife, a woman named Delia, ran a blog. Parenting, budgeting, some true crime. And when Amanda started talking smack again, Delia posted a single entry titled, Facts Matter. Linked the court documents, the security footage, the fundraiser audits, the fraud, the timeline. Every single thing backed up with public records. It went mildly viral. Not national, but enough. Amanda lost her job. Her landlord didn't renew her lease. The new church she'd joined dropped her from their outreach board. 3 moves in 18 months. Each one further from anywhere she'd once called home. One day, she called me from an unknown number. Screamed that I'd ruined her life. That I was obsessed. That I should have just let it go. I almost died in a basement because you were scared I'd open a PDF, I said. You don't get to rebuild. You get to remember. I hung up. Blocked the number. That was the last I heard from her. These days, I don't talk about Amanda much. My son's too young to hear the story. Maybe someday when he's older, when he's asking about fairness and family and where the lines are, I'll tell him. I'll say, never confuse blood with loyalty. And never ignore someone who tells you the math doesn't add up. Because sometimes, the person doing the math is the only reason you're still alive.